In this video, we're going to be publishing my library report to a workspace. So far, we've been working with the Power BI desktop product, and it's fantastic for authoring our report. But if we want to share, distribute, and refresh our report, it's going to need to live inside the Power BI online service. And in the exercise, you'll be publishing the school library report to your personal workspace. However, in corporate and enterprise scenarios, you'd be publishing to organization workspaces, as these ensure that the report isn't tied to a specific individual. From the perspective of the Power BI report creation stages, we're working in both the build report and manage report stages. So let's move over to the exercise and start publishing our report. I'm currently in office.com and I'm looking to access the Power BI service. There are a number of ways of doing this. You can go to the launcher, explore all your apps, and then go to all apps. And you can see you've got the option to select Power BI. Another alternative is to simply search for Power and select on Power BI. And this will take you to app.powerbi.com for your Power Up tenant. At this point, we can look at the workspaces available to us. I'm going to select there. All Power BI users have a My Workspace available to them, and I also have a Power Up training workspace. I'm going to select on that, but know that you won't have access to this workspace, as the workspace hasn't been shared with you, and you'd also need a Power BI Pro license. And I can see that in this workspace there is a My School Library Report file, and it's the data model as well as the report. Within the workspace, I can see various details. I can also manage access to it. However, for privacy reasons, we can't share with other users within the Power Up tenant. I'm going to clean up the contents of this workspace, select on this data model, and then I'm going to delete it. I'm going to move back to workspaces, and then I'm going to select my workspace. There's nothing here yet, but that's going to change very soon. So let's move back to Power BI desktop. I'm on the landing page of the My Library report, and I'm now going to publish the report. Select Publish, and it prompts us to save our changes. Select Save. But I'm not currently signed in to my Power Up environment. I'll need to put my email in and then select Continue. This takes me through to the Microsoft authentication process. Enter my Power Up password and then sign in. And you'll know that you're signed in because in the top right hand side it will say your username. I now have a choice of two workspaces that I can publish my Power BI report to, and we're going to use My Workspace. Select. It's now publishing the report. It's really tempting at this point to select Got It, but what we're going to do is select Open My Library Report in Power BI. Select this. And we can now see the report in the context of the Power BI service. We can select on current loans and it navigates us directly there. We can expand the visual, move back to the report. We can even select on individual loans and look at our model-driven app link. We can move to the students review, and we can right click and we can move through to our drill through. Notice that we can still see the testing and testing filters pages. We can either delete those or hide them, but we need to do that inside our Power BI report. Also, if you look at the filters, it's also defaulting to November 2023. We're going to change that as well. Let's move back to our Power BI report. I'm going to right click on testing, hide, right click on testing filters and hide that as well. Then also select on filters. I'm now going to select on 2023. Move back to the landing page and then publish. Save the changes. Tell it to publish to my workspace. Tell it to replace the report. And the report has now been published. Select the link. We now see just 4 pages, and if we select on the filters, we can see that it filters to 2023. Let's now look at it from the perspective of the workspaces. Select on the workspaces, select on my workspace, and it shows us the models and the reports that exist within our workspace. And in this case, we have one report tied to one data model. The workspace for Power Up training remains empty. I'm going to demonstrate how to publish into that workspace. I'm in the My Library report. I'm about to save it as a demo. Now that that's been done, I am going to publish it. But this time I'm going to publish it to the other workspace, Power Up Training. Select that. And the report has now been published. I'm going to open my library report demo. And it's exactly the same report, but it's living inside my Power Up Training workspace. I can select on Power Up Training, and I can see that it's been entered there. This element is purely for demonstration purposes, and it also takes us to the end of this exercise. I hope you've enjoyed this video on publishing my library report to a workspace, and in future videos we'll see how to both share and refresh our Power BI reports. I'll see you then.